have we had a long rest, and how long has it been?
Well,
No, we're still down below, man.
yeah, current status. Last time you guys, in pursuit of some perhaps quick coin or just something to do while you were in the town of Cliffgred, burning time while Gurky goes about his politicking inside the city, you reserved a room, actually two rooms, in the hotel in town known as the. Checking my notes. Where is the thing? The pass through. You got two rooms in the pass through, then went down to the Underkeep to ask about helping to clear the mine that was having some sort of issue. Then you went inside the mine, explored a little bit. Alfred mined some ore, which caused loud noises and probably drew more enemies up the shaft in your direction. And after eventually finding your way to the proper area in the mine, you descended down to an area of absolute darkness, fighting creatures you could not see. And once you got to the base of the mine, you had saw that there was a crack leaking out darkness and creatures from a pocket dimension or some sort of external space that was not intended to be discovered down here. After using a fire spell to combat the cold and cause a conflicting explosion of energy, collapsing that small rift, you're able to revive your fallen companion Alfred, and I think Hell has him fireman style over his shoulders or something of that nature, and you are you're still within the mine right now, at the bottom of the shaft. So, with that in mind, what are you guys going to do right now?
I'm carrying him like a baby.
In the bottom area we're in, I wanted to see if I could figure out if there was any kind of weird mineral or anything around here, any kind of ore that was causing the infection besides obviously the hole that we collapsed.
You're looking for any kind of weird mineral or anything, you say?
Yeah, down here. I'm just gonna kind of walk around and take a look to see if I find anything that would be, kind of weird. Where's my character at? You
Dungeon Master.
Yes.
Get with my character.
There's still a live token on the field.
Oh, that's probably the last guy. Let me just get rid of that.
Yeah, I killed him twice. It's fine. Oh, cool. And the Dragonborn's still dead. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, let's just
What do you mean perfect? Hold up here.
Okay.
I can still talk, I might be weak, but I can still talk.
Shoot him with a fireball. No.
So
I shut it down.
Walking around, you don't see anything incredibly obvious, but roll a perception for me.
Perception or investigation?
Well, yeah, we'll do investigation on this one. Sure.
Yes, I am better at investigation. 22.
22. With a 22, you see that some of the rock is hewn in such a way that it curls and waves in certain patterns. This area was not fully mined or entirely dug out properly before this apparently was discovered. So there are a lot of strips on the walls that kind of fold into each other, and you can tell there are some dark lines of minerals in the wall.
I'll work on that later when we're not doing stuff.
I would recommend before we leave this section, as we've cleared
that we mine all the ore.
Light, I would say we should take a brief rest and get our breath and all that before we try to head out, just in case we run into anything else. This seems to be a dead end, so we know we can protect ourselves by watching the front. We can watch this area pretty easily.
Yeah, we could take 10, something like that. An hour.
I think it's an hour, yeah.
No, I'm okay with that. By the way, is my voice mod working right now? Or is it?
Yeah, you're good.
Alright, cool.
I hear a lot of background noise.
Yeah, you're really fuzzy right now.
Oh, I am?
Yeah, and a lot of noise in the background.
Interesting.
So yeah, who is on watch as you guys do this?
I'll go first. I don't care.
I was gonna say I'm like barely hurt at all.
I'm not hurt at all.
I'm a little scratched up. I could use a rest.
Okay. Well, we'll have Pelinel and Vorik roll perception checks for your watch. Everybody else can take a 1 hour rest as you in any manner you choose to around this area of the cave.
Fucking 27.
All right.
So the
Huh?
my brain's processing slowly here.
I'd rather do
Our 10 hit points are until we long rest, correct?
I think until you get like another source of 10 pin points, they should stay.
Yeah, or until you long rest, I think.
Are we long resting or short resting?
This is a short
No,
rest, is what I think.
short rest. I'm just
Okay.
saying, while we're short rested, we still keep our temp, right? Until we long
Yeah,
rest.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, until you long rest.
Okay, so let's use. Let's go 3 of those bad boys. I healed for 12.
Okay. Flint, do you need any health? Do you need to roll any hit dice?
4.
Baby, you ain't going to bed. You ain't going to bed.
Mr. Flint?
Sorry.
Do you need it to roll any hit dice? How are your health?
Hey, Alfred. We're getting some back feed, buddy, from your mic.
Yeah.
How?
Alfred.
A little bit of back feed. No, it's fine. It sounds like there's a fan or something nearby.
Like you're playing on the interstate.
Interesting.
Oh, or maybe you have an air conditioner.
Well, I had a air purifier, but I've always had that thing on. And the weird thing that you guys are able to hear it now out of all the weeks I've had
It
it
is
on.
a little weird because this is we've never heard it before tonight.
Yeah. Interesting. That's probably okay. So, yeah, sorry about that.
Nope,
Can
I'm good, man.
I check the body of this creature and see what may be on it? As it looks, I mean, obviously you said it's not really different, but if it's any different, just see if there's anything on him, or if they were more like a spiritual or demonic creature or something.
Sure, you said this guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at that body, it seems to be like someone has thrown a black cloak on the ground that's almost translucent. Picking it up and kind of touching it, it feels slightly toxic, like your hands tingle, but not in the painful way that it has before. At least some of you have experienced. It doesn't seem to have any pockets or anything. Its shape is kind of diagonal, like that of a manta ray.
So with my hand on that cloak, or whatever that may feel is, I would like to, I try to identify it. Use a spell slot while I'm down here.
Okay. Using the spell, you're able to discern that this is a creature known as a shadow, and it seems to be taking the form of some sort of very, almost two-dimensional shape, and using that shape to more or less use different strategies in battle.
Okay. Sweet. So I'd kind of go back and I'd pull out my book and I'd kind of write down what I'm learning from these creatures, just so if I ever meet one again, I understand kind of what we're dealing with.
Okay. And you would also learn with the Identify spell that this creature mainly resides in the Shadowfell. But Flint, how is your health? Do you need to roll any hit dice during the short rest?
No.
Okay.
I need to roll a
yes.
Perception check.
You go ahead and do that.
I thought I needed to. I didn't know if we got to that point yet.
Yeah, you did. Pel got 27, you got a 24. Excellent. So yeah, as you guys are resting and Munson is investigating some creatures, let me just ask, what are Flint and Ugbor doing? If anything.
Ugbor burps and starts picking his nose.
Is anybody hurt? They need me to heal them up a little bit?
Flint will see if there's anything good to steal from them.
I appreciate it, Pill. I'm feeling all right now. Just maybe a little bruised.
Okay. So which creatures are you going to investigate? Flint, which creatures are you going to investigate?
Ah, the one I'm standing on.
Okay. Give me 1 second here.
While he's waiting on that, I've used 5 of my 9 hit dies and killed myself during the short rest.
Okay, sounds good. Investigating this creature, you again look at the hollow, and I'm coming as feedback through Alfred's mic, like it's picking up my voice on your speakers and coming back as well, just a little bit.
And also, I just want to point out it's coming through
Yeah.
his voice mod.
Yeah, I heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That. Okay.
What I recommend you do, Alfred, is adapt a. I hear it in my voice. Adapt something that we do in offices. If you're not talking, go ahead and mute it, and then it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I know, but then I have to forget to press the damn button. I'll figure something out. Give me a minute.
No problem. That's fine. Flint, investigating this creature, you see the long face and mouth, the dark, hollow eyes that are still dark, but now in shadow instead of like menacingly empty. The creature itself has just long, leathery, wrinkled skin that looks almost like it's entirely made of scar tissue. It has this like cloak draped over its shoulders and a little bit on top of the head that is just totally hairless. That seems to be made out of some sort of dark moss, but has almost disintegrated as the creature has fallen. You don't see any pockets or anything about the creature that would suggest any kind of loot.
Fantastic. That's it for me.
As you guys rest and collect yourselves, Pell and Vorik, you don't see anything coming your direction. You hear only the slight titter of some rocks falling in the distance, but from the way that they fall and the way it just sounds like the natural settling of a cave that's been freshly mined. It doesn't sound like anything's disturbing the dirt.
Alright, well, I think if we have gathered what we could from these creatures, we did originally come down here. Besides for this, there was an ore or a mineral that was getting people ill. Has anyone seen anything odd or anything since we've been down here?
We haven't went through all the cave yet, have we?
I don't know. I just know we got to the bottom.
I haven't really noticed. I mean, like, it's been mostly black.
Yeah,
We're only just now, but maybe we should investigate.
Yeah, I checked down here. I didn't see anything that was like cursed or anything obvious that would kind of make it make that happen. But it is what it is.
Okay. Well, what are you guys doing? Are you going to explore the cave as you exit, or what is your plan?
Yeah. Ugbor is going to look for anything suspicious and start walking back up the cave.
Okay.
Back up the spiral.
Well, suffice to say, you can make it back to the last intersection without any kind of issues. You see the previous battles that happened before. As you walk, you again see the occasional glitter of something red on the walls, but it appears to just be incredibly small.
So we can go right there.
Yeah, exactly. Just incredibly small gemstones that are probably worth less than your time.
One more over. Akbar. There
Yeah, that's the first place that you don't remember exploring past there. You decided to go this
Okay.
direction instead of the other.
I'll activate my dancing lights. Well, I guess I've always had them on, so I'll just keep them going with us as we travel. Just so we always have light. Not disco or DJ. No. Ugboard, I want to lead the way again.
Sure.
Oh. Lame. Chrome
Looks like
stuff.
we haven't checked this section yet.
So as you round that corner, this is what you're going to see.
Oh, another dead end.
Oh,
Is
so
there
it
more
would
back there?
seem. So it would seem.
I
Ugbor's
would like
going
to.
Ugbor's gonna investigate the back panel here, like right here.
Okay. It doesn't take a whole lot. You can, looking through, it seems that there is an area beyond this, but there must have been a collapse right here because there is a small section that would. It looks like the area at the most northern part of the cave. That looks like it's just a dead end that's been dumped gravel into.
Oh
But
no,
but this space has rocks collapsed in on
Alfred.
What happened now, friend?
Yeah.
You don't happen to have any more of that dynamite?
I do not, but hold up. What do we need the dynamite for?
Can I see through that, or does it seem completely blocked?
No, you can see through it, not very well, but you
I'm
can see
going
partially.
to take one of my dancing lights and put it through the hole and push it through, and then I want to just see if I can see anything. Maybe have Palinel up here to see if his vision's better than mine, to see what's
Okay.
inside. And then I'll
Okay.
just I'll have two dancing lights go in there and kind of orbit around and light up the whole section.
Okay, then having that going on, between you and Palinel, this is what you guys see. Roll 20 broke. Hold on.
You broke it, sweet. Huh?
There we go. Yeah, having my pistol top button being controlled does not help things. You see basically an empty room, but there's a pile of rocks in the middle of the room, and you are able to see at least one set of boots jetting out from the pile.
Hey, I see some
So
boots.
maybe Ugabor, if you can use your strength, maybe Palinel, and maybe see if you can clear the gravel out. You know, spend a little bit of time.
Sure.
See if we can get back
Yeah.
there. I mean, it looks like a really big room, so I mean, anything's possible. Might be the
What do you
source
say,
we're
Phil?
looking for.
Yeah, I'm pretty strong sometimes.
All right, I'll be the shovel. Use me as the shovel.
Here, this might help. I still have my pickaxe from earlier in my backpack if one of you guys just wanna grab that.
Well, I want to do it as careful as possible because after all of our dynamite explosion, I don't really want to have any more accidents.
Well, in that case, who's gonna be going in? I could dimension door in.
Well, I think we're just gonna clear it by moving rubble. I think there's just fallen debris. It's not really like big or ginormous pieces. I don't think. Just a bunch of little rubble that we need to move out of the way into the side of the walls.
Ugbor begins moving some of the larger pieces.
No, hold on, you're gonna hurt your back that way.
Yeah. No warm up.
Use your legs.
Okay. Using your combined effort, especially with the tools that Albert has collected. I said Albert again. God, Alfred.
God damn it!
I know it's sometimes it's for fun. Sometimes I just can't control myself. Using the tools that Alfred has collected, and the efforts of Ugbor along with Palinel's larger size feature, it does not take long for you guys to move most of the rubble along the sides of the wall to make a pathway that even Palinel can walk through.
There we go.
Monson, shut the fuck up.
All right, let's. I'll keep one light here with us, and then I'm gonna take 3 lights and take them to like 3 different corners, and just have them kind of light everything up. See what we see when we get in there. Now that you've cleared it.
You surprisingly find 3 corners of a circle and install your lights. Walking around, you don't see anything else in this room. It seems like it was dug out for some sort of purpose, but now it's just housing this lone pile in the middle of the room that, upon easy inspection, seems to be covering the body of somebody.
Oh,
So it seems like so someone died. That's no good.
we can check, see.
You want to unbury the body? So is his boots on top of the rocks, or is his boots like sticking out, and his body like you can tell there's still a body there?
You can tell there's a body under it. His boots are on the ground just outside of the rocks. Like you saw blackness from where you were at because they were black boots.
Gotcha.
But you can tell that there is a body underneath. The pile does seem larger than one body, but we see this body anyway.
What do you guys think?
I say we investigate. Let's see what's on it. Can't be that.
So you want to start unburying the rubble and see how many people potentially, or if there's people in here that have died?
Maybe they have some
Okay.
kind of indication as to why everybody's getting sick.
Yeah, I mean I can watch while you unbury. I don't want to get my hands dirty, you know.
Ugbor walks over and begins to remove the rubble, but slowly, timidly.
Okay. Being very careful and respectful as you untomb the bodies, you uncover the bodies of. Eventually, you uncover the bodies of 2 dwarves. Both of them seem obviously deceased. They are in similar outfit to what you saw some of the other miners in the first cavern when you entered the entrance to the mine. Similar outfit to those. They are wearing hard hats still, but the hard hats have been taken off and laid on their chest. And the faces and bodies of them seem a little off. I'm gonna have a roll medicine check.
I think that's all you, Pelino.
Alright, I'm finally back in. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is fucked up. Like, I had to get off on... Like, I'm just using service on my phone now. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
That's strange.
Very.
Medicine check, hold on.
By the way, was that on Pell's shoulder, or was Ugbor carrying me?
I was carrying you like a baby.
Alright, yeah, I assume you just dropped me and put me down in the corner before you entered in.
I got a 15.
15? A 15 is enough to know that examining the bodies, especially with your medical history, Pelno, that the bodies are obviously not long dead, but their faces are blotchy in different colors, especially the nose and the tips of the fingers and things.
Like I'm snacky when I play.
And you basically understand that these bodies have some sort of frostbite on them, and the skin looks like not only did they die of some sort of blunt force trauma, but they also have frostbite on various parts of the skin.
Well, that's weird. Hey guys, they froze to death somehow. Or they got frostbite at least.
So, Ugbor, didn't you say something about where you were down in that hole there is extremely cold?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cold. But that went away when we shot
Yeah,
that lightning down there.
but we cleared it out. But obviously, it must have been farther up here. So maybe that hole was creating these creatures and
Ooh,
maybe taking out these people.
maybe.
I mean, it seems like the frostbite, in my opinion, would come from that hole that you said was extremely cold.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so maybe we ought to go back. What do you all think?
Well, so I pulled an Alfred, used this thing called Lots of Fire, and caved it in. But I don't think I technically destroyed it. I think I just postponed it.
Oh no.
But I don't know if there's any way I would know if I destroyed it. I mean, we can inform people upstairs what we've seen or found, but I don't know if that will help. If that will just motivate them more to destroy the mine or not.
Wait a minute. When we heard that they were getting sick, did we hear anything further than that? Like, did they mean like sick, like they got a cold?
I don't know. I wasn't with you guys at that point.
Or make a history check for me.
Ignore the advantage on that.
No, you don't remember.
Okay. Well, all the same, I think that we know enough now that we can safely assume that we've at least stopped the issue for now. And we're not going to be here forever.
No.
So it's really not our problem, right?
I mean, we killed some things, and one of us got killed, so I feel like we've done our part.
I would say in the time being, I mean, we could tell them. Let's make sure we fully clear this place. But I would say, it's quite open. Like they should be able to mine down here again for a while. I would tell them recommend not going any in that deeper hole, but you know, if they want to keep digging, they can dig all the other areas they may not have done up on the higher levels. It's weird to me that though, you know, the rest of them kind of pish posh back and forth, cut pieces out and then stopped. But then that one seemed like it was a one-way, deep, cold tunnel. And they made it straight down to a core of something. But yet the rest of the tunnels we have found have all been on the upper level. So I'm kind of curious why they went down so deep so quickly.
If you guys wouldn't mind doing me a favor, I cannot find my notes on this. I just need to be reminded of the mine number that you're in and the mine boss's name, because I've forgotten. If anyone has that.
One second, I have children.
I don't have the mine boss's name, but I have that dude that wouldn't let us in at first until we told him his name. Greg, I think.
Okay, cool.
Let me check my notes here. Hold on, kid again. Looks like it was Sigil was the Master Dwarf, Greg was the Platform Chieftain. I know we went to Platform 243 down 50 feet to the main platform.
Gotcha, perfect. That's all I need. Thank you, man.
Okay, you're welcome.
So you guys have discovered 2 dwarven bodies. You've uncovered them. What are you doing with them at this point?
I want to punch
You got
him.
anything on
Pell, do you see you want to investigate the bodies?
him? Yeah. Just see if they got anything on them.
Sure, investigate.
Pretty sure it's a flat roll.
I'm back.
17.
My internet dirt.
17. The miners that are deceased in front of you are still wearing their miners' outfits, and they have several pockets on them. Kind of going through them as respectfully as you choose. You're able to find not any mining equipment. You're finding tinder and fire starter, flint, a pouch that has some steel wool in it, and a 2 sticks of dynamite in a separate box that's attached to his hip. It's kind of like a drop holster that's on his leg.
Where would they bury him with his diamond? Interesting. That's weird.
Are you going to take any of that, Pell?
No, but I'll be like, hey guys, I found more of the blow up sticks. I don't want them because I'm very clumsy.
Well, Alfred has the ability to activate these things pretty quickly.
The problem is, though, with my strength all sapped up, I won't be able to do them very far.
Boric.
Yes.
I think with you, with your sneaky, quick stealth, vanish, disappear, I'd say, in my opinion, I'd say I'd give them to you with the, like the flint and all that to actually light them. Because you'd be able to get in pretty easily, light it, and run away pretty quickly, I would assume.
I'll take them.
Oh, wait. I can put them in that magic bag I have.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of if we needed it while we were still down here, or if we need to use it really quick. But we can do either route.
How many are there?
I think just 2.
2 of them.
I'll take them.
Here, take the boom boom sticks.
Boom boom stick.
So Vork has 2 boomsticks. Are you going to leave the bodies uncovered, recover them? Are you what's your thought?
Can I spend a minute and sketch them the best I can?
Sure, absolutely. Roll. I'll tell you what. Roll me a performance check to see how well you draw these people.
13.
Okay, fair enough. You don't get a lot of the finer details, but you are able to basically picture them side by side. It's the equivalency of a decently drawn wanted poster.
Okay, then maybe they'll be able to tell me who these people are when we go up.
But yeah, I'll try to cover them up at least a little bit. I don't know. There's not really like. There's rocks around.
Were they buried deep, or were they just like rocks on top of them on this flat ground?
They were fully covered. It looks to be intentional. The rocks were stacked up in a way that makes you seem like they were trying to be put together like a stone wall, in that they tried to be fit together as much as they could, but in a way that says it was hastily done. They were buried under probably about a foot of rock.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that might be a good idea. Just see if we can make it look a little better this time. Don't look like it's so out of whack. As you guys play with that, I will actually move up here, and I'll leave a light back there with you guys. But I'm just gonna kind of stay out here and see if anything comes, or if I hear anything while they're doing their thing. See if we disturb anything while we're doing it.
Yeah, I'll try to just cover them up as good as I can.
Okay, easily enough done. You look at the work after you've placed the last stone, and it seems to be a little bit better than you found it. You covered up the feet included that were somehow left out. You're guessing that maybe it was so hastily done that they'd even missed part of the body in that way, but now they are totally covered, and you feel good about the work you've done.
Yeah, maybe we could tell somebody, then get somebody to come down here and get them. And then I'll just walk on out.
All right. Well, you guys have the rest of the cave. It is yours to do with as you will.
I'm gonna keep traveling back before Akbar and just kind of head through back down here.
Okay.
Want to stealth, and then cut down this way.
Sure. So roll stealth. Munson, you don't see anything out of the ordinary on your trek back to this position.
Okay. After getting down here, I would head this direction as, with my memory being able to kind of remember where I've been. Looking down each direction, I would kind of be recognizing, but I know I haven't gone this direction yet.
Sure. And as you get to that point, this is what you see.
Hey guys, I might jump off here. My fucking computer finally kicked back on.
Yay!
Yeah, it only took a fucking hour.
Yay, an hour of success.
It sucks.
Alfred, Edgar, and Flint, you haven't moved. Or are you having trouble too?
They fell asleep.
All three
Goodbye.
of them.
More teleports. He used to mention door.
Yeah.
Almighty rule.
Matt, did your internet derp out a minute ago?
Yeah.
You have internet cable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mine did too for a minute.
Savant and Flint, you guys still with us? Is your thing being weird too?
Yeah, I'm just assuming that I'm in the arms of Pell at the moment.
Being loud.
Okay, no problem. I just want to make sure we weren't having other issues. Yeah, so
Yeah,
this
I'll
is what,
pick him back up like a baby and just start
Straight
carrying
into
him
the
out.
dark. Look at that.
Come on, buddy.
so this is what you see as you guys enter this section. This mine shaft seems pretty well excavated, like the entrance tunnel that you came in through here. It's a little bit more refined than the others. There are bands of metal holding up certain sections as to reinforce the tunnel.
Okay, so it looks like this is a good thing potentially. Oh,
And that's what you see there.
Lost somebody again.
It's Matt. He's probably switching.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead and go across. I'll follow you, Akbar, with my lights.
If they're going that way, I want to go this way.
Sure, split the party. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you guys.
I don't know what kind of vision Vorik has, but good luck.
I have dark vision.
Yeah, as you guys are traversing these different paths, you see some nodes on the wall, like some round pieces of rock that stick out differently than the rest of the rock.
Which one? Agbor and Munson, or I do?
Both of you, actually.
Strange. This
doing circles.
This tunnel seems to go on and on and on. What's that in the distance? Oh my God!
Attack!
Yeah.
Dagger.
Especially at the back portion. Especially at the back portion of this area, this circle that's been made, you see a pretty large node sticking out of the back wall.
Oh well.
It's about the size of a bowling ball.
Dang.
A large node of what?
Just a rock.
Node.
Just like some sort of rock that seems to be rounded and stuck in the wall.
I want to push it.
Okay, you push it with your hands.
With your forehead.
I'm gonna use my foot.
It was at this moment Pell knew. He was going to be a cripple.
So putting your foot on the round rock that is about halfway up the wall, you put your foot on it and try and kick it, and nothing happens.
Okay. Like it didn't move at all.
Nope. It seems to be part of the wall.
Oh.
Does this
Where's
seem
that?
to light any differently when I put my lights near it, or does it just seem like a dark, like, boulder?
It seems to be a slightly different color. Like it's lighter in color than the gray of the granite around it. Um, so it does stand out.
Where's the? Who has that pick?
The Alfredo on back of Pellinel. So, grab it from him, and Ugbor or Pellinel would have crash it open.
You guys said something about messages, right? What messages in?
But
I'm
I'm
gonna
back before you
assume.
do it, just in case.
I'm gonna assume my psychic whispers have ran out already, right?
Yeah, probably. Especially with the respite in there.
Well,
all right.
Since I'm right here, well, I'm gonna request to backtrack a little bit and do it when we took a short rest.
Okay, sure. So you
if that would be allowed.
Yeah, I'll allow that. So we'll say 1 hour from when you almost finish your short rest.
So I'll do Pale, Ugbor, Munson, and since Pale's carrying Alfred, I'll also do Plant.
Okay. So all of you guys are able to hear each other's voices in each other's heads if they so choose to communicate it thusly.
I'm running. Teleport.
Man, that's gonna be like class.
Hey, I'm here.
Just a mention door everywhere. Where is this? There it is. Nope, take one away. Confirm. Alrighty.
Alfred, did you hear yourself when you short rested, Alfred?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear yourself when we short rested?
Yeah, I actually rolled pretty good.
Oh, cool. Okay. Continue.
Who has pickaxe?
I do. In my backpack.
Smack this weird looking rock here.
Let me remind you, my strength is shit.
Yeah.
Oh, give it to Pale and let Pale smack this rock.
Yeah, Alfred looks like he belongs in a wheelchair at this time. He's alive and conscious. He just seems like he's very weak.
Hell, like sit him down. Let me see that little sharp stick, buddy. Let me pick where you got picked.
Oh, he's a geriatric dragonborn.
Yep, currently.
Fuck you all. Wasn't for that goddamn dog, I wouldn't be in this situation.
It happens to the best of us. It's okay.
He is as sore as you expect someone to be that had their soul forcibly crammed back into their recently dead body.
I was dead for 43 seconds. It takes a toll on me.
You could have been dead for hours. You never know.
So, Hell, you're taking the pickaxe?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, if you plan on striking this object, I'll have you roll a strength for me.
Just like a strength.
We can do, we'll do athletics, so you get any kind of bonuses you get there.
You're the cleric,
16.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm a tough boy.
He big boy.
Yeah.
He's a war vet. He'll be fine.
I got a 16.
16. That's plenty to crack this. And as you hit the stone once, it has a resounding ping that sounds curious. Then you swing a second time, and half the geo just cracks and falls on the ground. And at your feet now is half of a bowling ball sized geo that's been cracked, and on the inside there is this aqua patterned crystals covering the inside of the bowl.
Shiny.
Oh.
I'd like to see if I can investigate and see what these nodes might be now that we have it open.
Sure. Roll investigation.
26.
Oh yeah, this is a quartz. This is a quartz geode. pretty valuable, especially at this size. And the clarity of the gem seems very vibrant, and this color is not very common either. You're guessing, you don't have any mining experience, but you're guessing that perhaps they were leaving this for later, or because this wasn't their main objective coming in here. They seem to have been focused on the ore that was being harvested out of this area. So maybe this geode was left for later. But on the wall is, you left half buried in the wall, is another half of this aqua colored geode full of crystals.
Hello now. After taking a closer look, I would see if you can get the other half taken out and then put them in your bag of magic.
Alright.
Quite valuable, quite shiny. Maybe even take it up and see if they have interest up top for it, or you never know, maybe Alfred will want it for his collection.
I mean, if I can get a small sample of whatever it is that you got there, I would not mind that.
Right, these are called quartz. They're quite beautiful gems, raw gem, that has been left for some reason, but...
For our gain.
Now, do I have to like keep using the pickaxe, or can I just like stick my hand in there and grab it out?
It's not buried in the wall, but we'll say using your strength check that you used before, you're able to carefully pick around this, and we'll say within a couple of minutes of effort, you're able to carefully collect the geode from the wall.
All right, I'll just toss it in the bag of holding.
Okay. You can add to your inventory then 2 pieces of agate, we'll call it, worth 500 gold each.
So that's it.
Nice chunk of change. By the way, before I forget, can someone mine out one of those red and ruby gem things in the cloud before we head out? I'm very curious about those.
We're gonna potentially grab one, right?
I haven't seen any in this branch, but I'm very curious about the two reliefs.
Okay, well, I'm going to assume, after what we've done so far, I'm going to assume that the sickness wasn't from a mineral. I'm guessing the sickness is from that demonic shadow realm that was spawned at the bottom of the cave in which they've created, or the mining shaft.
Munson, since you're thinking on it pretty hard, give me a history check, please.
I don't know, I gotta see my history. That's a 5. Let's see what I can do. Come on, baby. Ooh, another good roll. 23.
With the 23, it just clicks in your head and comes back to you. The story you were told is that because this mine here was closed down and they were no longer able to harvest whatever very valuable ore was in here, they had to go somewhere else to a different mine and collect a substitute ore that was suspicious and causing sickness.
Ah, so it was the second one that caused it, not this one. Interesting.
And the sickness that was caused, you were told, began to affect their vision firstly.
And I would remember that it wasn't this shaft, it was another one that they started.
Correct. Yeah, the story was that this shaft was closed down, therefore they probably had to go to a lesser quality or a different type of ore experimentally. And while yielding questionable results, it also involved everybody who was involved with the process to get some form of ill.
As I remember this, I kind of look at everyone and want to say something, but at the same time, my brain's like, do I tell them that we just wasted our time doing this? Roll a dice, figure out what I would say.
It seems that way.
It does. I would talk to probably Alfred, just because I know him more than anyone else, and it kind of give him the rundown of, okay, Alfred, we went down this shaft that they closed down, that they were going to explode due to unknown real reasoning. Obviously, we cleared the evil down at the bottom we found, but we kind of messed up. We went after the wrong tunnel, the wrong shaft. This is actually the one with all the higher quality, potentially actually valuable products, gemstones or minerals, but the one that they are working on now, not this one, but the other one they created, is the one that's causing the blindness, sickness, and illness. So this shaft didn't have that problem.
Well, you know, we may have went down the wrong tunnel and did the wrong job, but we did a good job nonetheless with us clearing that,
Well, the good news is we could have them reopen this one and actually come back to this one and find what they need to keep their work continuing. Bad news is we may need to spend time on the other one and see if we can clear that one out. I'm only telling you, I haven't told anyone else yet.
I agree. You know, we can help them out, we get more money, and I'm very curious on this war in particular, but in my current state, I don't think I'd be able to join you guys if you guys want to do so soon. We would have to wait at least maybe a couple days to recover my strength.
I don't know how long we'll be here. What do I tell the rest? Yeah, I guess, to Pelino for sure, Flint and Vorik. Ugbar, I don't think he really cares. He seems more of a take orders, kill shit, call it a day.
Yeah, that's me.
But everyone else, I would kind of explain what we've done, where we're at, and then where we should have been to find the problems. But we could potentially tell them they can reopen this one now that we've cleared the evil out of this. See their responses.
Well, it does suck, but at least we did something good still, regardless.
But it also means that all the high valuable ore is down here, so anything we take out of this section, anywhere in this section, this is their, seems to be their higher quality stuff that they've been trying to get to that they got spooked out of.
Well, then I say let's pick up that red gem and then let's get the heck out of here. Tell them to get their asses back to mine and help the city get this war island back.
How does Flint take this information? Flint, you alright?
Dead.
He gone.
He's dead!
Oh, no, I'm here. I was muted. We were in the wrong mine. We were in the wrong mine shaft.
Yes.
It would appear that way.
So
that doesn't speak volumes to our capacity to be reimbursed for this little jaunt underground.
But see, that's where, in my opinion, Flint, you're incorrect, because the gentleman sent us down to this one because this is the valuable one they need to clear until they go back to work.
Additionally, for our troubles, Pell has secured 1,000 gold in ore.
And I believe Alfred has also taken some valuable.
Yes, I got that, but so these miners are still going to be getting sick and dying.
Well,
Yeah,
what I'm
but
saying is we would have to go down the other section and clear that one.
Yeah, so
they only went down that other section because they couldn't come down here. So now that they can come down here, they don't have to go back to that other place.
They could technically dynamite that one and then come back here.
And I'm very curious on that ore. I want to get a sample and figure out if there's something magical that's affecting them. If we can, if we can find a way to stop the sickness from spreading, they could in the future potentially use that ore for other means. And who knows what this thing is. So I'd say I put my vote on we take a couple days rest and come back down and see if we can, get a sample of that ore and figure out what's causing it to be sickening people and see if we can stop it.
Well, taking a sample of It's kind of a risky stance.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be fatal, so it just
I don't know.
maybe.
Taking your eyesight seems pretty fatal to me.
Mm. Well, magic, I can have ways to work around eyesight if need be.
Well,
I'm
we'll
pretty
leave that
sure I
up
can
to the
cure
group what they want.
blindness.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Okay. I would say let's go grab one piece of that red mineral and then head up and inform them that this mine's cleared. And I'd say head back, rest for the day, get some strength back in Alfred. You guys think that might work?
Sure, and to be clear, because I might not have been, the red pieces you're seeing around are a combination of the stone around it, but mainly it appears to be some sort of gemstone ore, like a ruby or garnet.
Yeah, he just Alfred just wanted to grab one to have so he could, understand what it is.
Sure,
So,
no problem. You just said ore, so I wanted to clear that up. So.
Yeah. Okay. It's a ruby.
It's redstone from Minecraft.
Exactly.
Well, you guys ready to get the hell out of here?
I believe we've cleared everything that I can remember. Maybe a few spots, little cave-ins we haven't cleared, but yeah, I would say we're good.
Okay, well, we will safely say that you guys are able to exit the mine, and as you come to the entrance of section 243, you see that there are now 2 guards stationed by with a pile of rock half stacked in the entrance and another small pile of rock just behind it, and they seem to be waiting. As you approach, they see something move and immediately run to the pile and begin and get ready to throw rocks at the entrance to this section.
Alright, my lights will kind of glow ahead of us, so as we approach, they'll see that it's us before they get too crazy.
Ignore that. That's my bad.
Don't throw rocks at us. Already have bad day dying already.
It's you. All right. Well, I'm glad to see you back alive anyway.
Your mind is clear too, Orm, my friend.
Is that right?
How to explain this? So you guys decided in your mining hole here, you guys dug fairly deep, in which was pretty cold, and down in the bottom there was a shadow realm entrance that was cracked open through another realm and came in, created darkness and shadow beings in which corrupted or killed or potentially harmed your people. We found 2 bodies. Here's the sketches, by the way. They're not the greatest, but here they are. I don't know who they are. But
People died after this.
as we get to the bottom, one of our friends did lose their life. Like he said, we brought him back with magical means, of course. I threw a ginormous hole into great fire, let's say, into a hole into the realm and destroyed the entrance, which made a mass cave-in at that bottom section. I did not cave in, obviously, anything else. What else do you need to know? Oh, so due to knowing my way around, let's see, that would have been, if you go right only, all the way down, it's room 7, down the spiral. Yeah. And when you get to the very bottom, you'd see where it was. There'd be a lot of dead bodies down there, creatures in which you've never probably seen before. What else do I got, guys? Anything else?
That sounds about right for me.
That was shockingly particular.
I remember things. I can't help myself.
As you're talking, the section boss, Urgrog, comes around the corner. Sounds like you got it handled.
Well, I mean, I didn't get my hands dirty, but yes, we got it figured out.
Yeah, some of us gotten a little bit more dirty than others.
Well, you know, it's the way you created yourself.
I didn't credit myself. It's your goddamn dog.
You can't blame what you can't see. That's what I say.
I think you need to train that dog a little bit better.
So you're saying
Anyway.
it's clear for us to go down and continue our work, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys said in that lower cavern, I would recommend maybe leaving that alone. Block the very, very bottom off, as with how deep that is, it looks like I said, we've shattered rocks and potentially broke it, but I have a feeling that if you go down there and keep playing around with that very, very lower cavern, there's a high chance that you could always bring something back. So I would say at the tops, clear what you've cleared, maybe get your dwarven buddies back, and yeah, go collect all that beautiful colors we saw down there.
Well, we were chasing a seam of that ore down there, but I suppose we can see what else we can find. If there's another vein, that'd be particularly useful.
And I remember there was another tunnel you guys were opening that you guys were trying to mine, and as far as I understood, it was more of a lower, lesser mineral, but it was also causing sickness. Do you remember which tunnel or route number, any of that kind of things, to where that area is?
I think that was in 384.
384.
Yeah, that was our alternative. This would be the higher grade. That's the experimental section, and it's working all right. It doesn't seem to be taking an edge as much as we want. Good for hammers, but it doesn't seem to be that healthy. Apparently.
Seems to be causing some kind of blindness, sickness, or something. I've heard through town.
Yeah, they're anybody that handles this stuff seems to be taking on to they're starting to see less in the dark. It becomes much harder for them to see while they're doing their work. Which provides some extra equipment for them to extra lights and things. Some of them after that have gone blind and things. Some of them. The weird thing about this one, we haven't seen this before. It's probably magical in some way, but it's silverish white in color. The ore is same color refined, but it seems to have a very faint glow about it while it's underground. After it's processed, especially, and some of the guys would like to take some of the dust and rub it on their skin, on their teeth, and they smile and have glow-in-the-dark teeth for a minute, and it's still good for a laugh, but then their teeth started to fall out, so we had to have them stop. There's a number of things.
So that was platform 384. Do you by chance know who's in charge or running that floor level?
384. Trying to think. That's probably Coghaig.
And how would you spell his name?
Kokheag.
Okay, Coghaig. Okay. And he's still running it. He seems to not have issues, or is he just kind of manning the entrance?
Well, I mean, he's the section boss. He's in charge of that section. He doesn't get his hands dirty per se. He manages all the miners and gets everything organized, ordered, and outsourced, just like I do here.
Okay. Anyways, I think I'm done with my conversation. I'm kind of tired, so I'm gonna head on up.
Before we go, Mr. Sorry, I forgot your name. My mind's a bit scrambled since I've been forcibly torn back into my body. But are these effects from this ore permanent? Like, if they, those who've been suffering from the effects, was able to regain their sight after so long from being away from the ore?
Oh, the alternates? No, I'm not sure. Everybody that has been affected hasn't been cured, as far as I know. Maybe a dozen.
And okay, and another question: is this from physical contact, or is just being in the area of the ore?
It's unclear at this time. Basically, everybody down there handles it except for Coghaig, and he hasn't reported anything yet.
Okay, so at least for now, then we can assume that it is contact in that regard. Do you happen to have like a little stash of it somewhere that we could take it a sample to maybe investigate?
You talked to Coghagen about that. That's his own section, and if he has a sample up there, that'd be him to distribute.
What do you guys say? You guys want to quickly get a little sample of it before we head up?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe we can keep it in his magic bag until we can really start getting into it, so that way we can lessen the effects if possible.
Yes, the mine with the glowy stones does not seem like a place where we should go fishing around.
We could get glowy teeth though.
This is true.
But remember, when your teeth glow, it also infects the gums and it makes your teeth blood, so not necessarily a smart idea.
If you put it on your teeth.
I think if you touch it, potentially other things could happen. Maybe you have gloves on? So, Alfred, you're saying head to 384, platform 384, go see Cogkeg before we head out?
Yeah, I would like to see if we just get a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of it.
Okay, well, exiting section 243, you walk the 50 feet down from the entrance to the L-shaped exit of this section onto the main mining platform. And judging off of where you came from versus where you are, seeing the numbers on the sections labeled pretty clearly, you're able to walk down you further into the mine. And on the right side, you see the numbers ascend until you find section 384. This section has the same basic entrance as 243. It's kind of a bridge made of stone that spans a small gap that goes over to that wall, where there is a cut opening that goes straight back for maybe 20 feet and then snakes off to the right.
As we're headed through, I'll mind link with Borg and ask him, did you find anything odd when you went the other direction by chance in that mining shaft? We went north, you went south?
I did not. It seemed to be the same stuff. Either way around.
Did you? I know you seem to just vanish all the time. Is there anything you've seen or saw down there by chance before any of us got there? Besides, obviously.
Not that I noticed. If I had.
Vork, roll a deception. Kidding, by the way.
It's okay. I'd believe him anyway. I'm only in his head all the time.
Yeah, if you guys are choosing to go into 384, then as you enter that section, the ground is very well laid. The tunnel is about 20 feet tall and 30 feet wide. It's a very wide section. There are little bits of silvery ore lining the walls of even the entrance to this section, but it's just in very little hairline strips. It's not enough to worry about actually mining, as far as you can tell. We're seeing how it's been skipped over. Headed back into the section, it's not like it's not like 243 where it just went straight and then straight left at 90 degrees, and then you're into that section and it kind of angled off pretty evenly. This section kind of snakes a little bit left and right as you head straight back into the rock following this path. And once you get to the mouth of this section, you see that there is a wide open space, kind of domed in nature, with a small little table on the right side wall. Underneath the table, there seems to be some sort of containers and open top crates. On top of the table, there seems to be papers scattered around, held down by various rocks and other things. There are bits of chalk and charcoal pieces laying on top of the table. And there's a couple of people busy running about this area. Miners, much more plentiful than 243, which seem to be basically on hold and inactive. This section is very active, and there are dwarves running in and out of different sections of this particular area. Because unlike 243, where there was just one entrance and then that's the section, this part has multiple holes and entrances, and there's dwarves running in and out of all different directions, bringing back wheelbarrows full of silver-looking chunks of rock, and they're dumping them into a large bin. And there's people at the bin who are sorting through it and picking out large pieces and throwing them in piles, and pieces that are less silvery, putting them in different piles and sorting the ore as it's being mined.
Do we see anyone who seems to be directing traffic? A foreman of such.
You see somebody who is walking around looking at everybody but not actually doing anything. He's walking a little bit slower than everyone else is.
Well, Alfred, that looks like that may be the guy. If you wish to talk to him and see if he can get you a sample.
Yeah, let's do that, shall we?
As you approach this figure, you can tell he's a younger dwarf, still of fine adult age, but seems to be pretty healthy stock. His demeanor is a little stern, but he's looking around. As you approach, he has different colored clothes on. Everybody else seems to be wearing basically browns and grays. He's wearing a blue tunic at least, and underneath that is a gray pattern. But he has his arms crossed, walking around, just watching his people work. And you see on his arms there are a couple small open sores. He has his hair pulled back into a sort of a ponytail that's just tied off in the back to keep his hair flowing that direction. He turns around and sees you, and immediately turns around and fully faces you, and begins slowly walking your direction, still with his arms crossed. Yes?
Are you Mr. Conway?
Yes, yes, I am.
Awesome. We just happened to clear tunnel 243 for you guys, and we were wondering about this new ore from this tunnel that seems to make people sick. We were hoping to investigate this origin and see if we can figure out how to prevent people being sick. Do you happen to have a small sample that we could borrow?
There's plenty laying about the ground if you want to pick up a sample. Is there... so you confirmed the clearing of 243?
Yeah, so hopefully we don't have any more people being sick from the new ore much longer.
We'll take this information directly to Sigil and we'll wait for his direction on the matter. If you have any insight onto alternate number 6 here that we've been using, we would love to hear your insight if you're of a medical or chemist in nature.
Pelino, he could, this ginormous gentleman.
Agbor just kills him.
Apparently.
Just pulls out a sword.
For 3 whole damage. Damn, bro. Calm down. Could you by chance, if you don't mind, Mr. Cogkeg? Cogkeg, would you let my friend here, Pelino, look over you? You seem to be wounded by chance? Kinda, you don't sound like you're feeling like yourself.
Just a little bit of dust on the lungs and some insect bites. I wouldn't worry about me. I have several guys who are laid up with the rattles, and some of them who are starting to lose their vision. Those are the more pressing matters. Those are in the infirmary at the start of the mine. When you came in, they'll be off to the left side. They're in a big hollowed out structure. It's hard to see unless you're looking for it.
Carol, would you like to go look at those people while they try to gather some samples? If we can know what the actual effect is and see if there's if it's permanent, or maybe get some accounts on their end to see how they managed to get this exactly, might be useful information.
Yeah, sure, if they don't mind.
Or I think I can at least maybe walk slightly.
Okay, sorry, I must have missed it. What do you guys say you're doing?
Pell is going to go to the infirmary and check on the people there while I gather samples for the ore.
Sure, sure. So, Helena, it takes you a little bit to get all the way back to the infirmary from 384. After about 5 minutes of walking, you eventually end up at the entrance of the mine, passing the other main miners and rail carts going, trailing off in the distance with a whoosh of sound as they propelled forward. You pass the small shack that Seagull is at, and you head towards the only small opening in the wall besides the trail that leads to the lower path, the low road that goes up to the entrance of the entire underkeep. And going inside the small room, you walk in and find that there are beds made of solid stone with some sort of animal skin laid on top, and pillows made out of rolled cotton. And there are about 7 dwarves in the beds. The room has a total of maybe 20 beds total. But there are 7 occupied right now, and nobody seems to be currently manning this area.
Alright. There's like no doctor type dwarf around.
Not currently.
Are any of them awake?
Most of them are asleep. There is one in the far corner who seems to be reading a book, holding it above his head as he's laying on the bed flat.
Hey, buddy. Hey.
He immediately turns to look at you and then drops the book on his face. Yes.
You seem pretty sick.
I'm very weak. My bones seem to want to break on their own. Why are you here to give me medicine? You a doctor?
I can take a look at you if you don't care.
Sure. If you want to take a look, I'm game. And he starts to pull down his trousers.
It's alright. You don't feel weird or anything. Perfectly normal. And
Alright.
you want me to roll medicine?
Yeah, roll medicine.
Let me see. How many things of lucky do I have left? I got 1 left, okay.
You're using it now?
Yep.
Okay.
14.
14. You're not sure what's affecting this person. It seems to be some sort of disease or something, as far as you can tell. The bones seem very brittle. You flexed palpating the legs and joints and things. Munson removes the curse on Alfred. That is his life. But yeah, palpating the joints and the bones and seeing how they flex, touching the skin and seeing the nature of it and things. The bones are a little brittle. They are in the same nature as someone who would be very old. You see that the skin is receding back from the fingernails and toenails. The skin is also very thin. You almost puncture the skin by moving your hands on it and pulling on the skin to try and flex the bones. You almost cause a wound, but you're able to catch yourself in time. So it seems to be degrading his entire body in different regards, whatever's affecting him.
Oh man. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but it does not look good.
Appreciate that.
You care if I try something real quick? It might be able to help you.
But if it doesn't, it's gonna hurt.
No, it shouldn't.
Alright, sure.
And now, Pell normally punches somebody in the stomach whenever he does, like, lesser restoration or remove curse. But he'll just, like, put 2 fingers delicately on him, and I'll cast lesser restoration on him. If it is a disease, that's what I'm trying to get rid of.
Okay. You cast the spell and touch him. you see the magic waft over his body, and it takes a second. Am I supposed to be feeling better or something?
I mean, it shouldn't be like immediate. Your bones feel like I could literally just take my fingers and crush them.
You'll either feel better or you'll feel rad.
Right? You could. You know.
The magic doesn't seem to have done much visibly.
Maybe it just takes time.
Sure, whatever. I'll keep sleeping then, till I'm magically cured. And he raises his hands sarcastically.
Hey, I brought somebody back to life.
It was the bomb.
You know, if you left him dead, I could have spoke to him while he was dead. I'm just saying.
Well,
some necromancy is kind of entertaining.
I don't know what's wrong with you. I hope that helps. If not, then just, I don't know. You'll get better eventually, maybe, hopefully.
Better eventually, maybe, hopefully. That's the spirit.
There we go.
That's the positivity we need in a place like this.
Hey, bright days are coming. Well,
I sure hope not. I don't want to see the sun. You know how bad it is living on the surface?
That's alright.
Nah, the weather's inconsistent. It rains, it snows, it's cold, it's hot. Nothing about it's good. Down here, where I'm safe in the mine, you know what to expect. Solid temperature, no weather to bother you. It's the same every day. It's consistent.
Sounds like you described Missouri.
I mean, the mines don't seem too safe right now.
I mean, it's as safe as a mine can be. You have to live your life with little danger, don't you?
Try not to cough too much.
Then maybe I best stop talking. He turns over to face away from you.
Well, goodbye.
Nah.
Just walk out.
Look at you now, buddy. You're positively glowing.
Now, while that's happening, Alfred, you search the section here, and are able to come up with several significant pieces if you choose to take them. Some small rocks of various sizes that are they have streaks of ore in them. Depends on what kind of size of ore you want to collect or what you plan to do with it. Because there's options both from the sorting area that's being processed there, and just bits that are laying loose on the wall, on the ground. Because this is a mine in work right now, so you have options. What kind of size piece are you looking for?
Just basically enough that I can kind of hold in my hand. But I wanna take like a piece of cloth or something, maybe a piece of leather, to grab it. I don't want to actually touch it, in case it is a contact-based thing. And I'm also going to use my tunic to kind of cover my nose and mouth like a mask. I don't know if whatever it is, it might be dust or something. I'm just trying to take all the, all that stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. So I think I missed that part. What size piece? Are you looking for a golf ball size piece? What's
Yeah, kind of like a palm sized. Enough to kind of like really get a good look, and maybe I can work on it a little bit, maybe crack it open to see, stuff like that. Might be able to do that in the future.
Okay, cool.
Plenty to irradiate all of us.
Good throwable rock size piece. So you pick it up with taking care to not touch it as much as possible. And now that you have acquired this piece, you say you're picking it with a cloth?
Yeah, a cloth or a piece of leather that I might have found somewhere around.
Okay. So picking it up, protecting your hand from the touch, you have a piece of silvery ore in your hand that looks mostly like, in this case, it's brown stone, with several significant stripes of silvery white. As you hold it in your hand and turn it in the firelight of this area, it reflects and looks almost iridescent.
I try not to look at it too much right now. Instead, I'll go ahead and try to wrap it in the cloth that I have it in.
Okay.
And who has the magic bag?
The guy that you sent away.
Ah, shit. Alright. Well, when he comes back, when we meet up with him, we'll put it in the bag, and then I'll try to figure out, like, some sort of container or viewing chamber or something to, look at it.
I believe we were headed up, so, yeah, we can head up, meet Helen, talk to the Master Dwarf.
Hopefully, he'll be able to gather some intel on the people there, maybe figure out if they're all just miners who happen to mine the thing, or processing the thing, or something.
Hopefully shuts down this shaft line and switches over.
Does anybody know what time?
Huh?
Does anybody know what time it is?
It's underground darkness. No idea.
It's time to get ill.
Well, I just wonder how long it's been since we talked to Gertie. I think he's expecting us to meet up with
Well,
him.
we can ask him. We have the ring. We could just be like, hey, how long has it been since you messaged us?
He should message us if he needs us right away, or if we've messed up.
Oh, that's right. I do remember. I think Hell sent him a message, let him know that.
Yeah, informed him where location is, what his hotel room, and so forth. So he has all the basic information.
Well, then let's get back to the hotel room, whatnot.
Okay, so as you guys exit section 384 and walk up the main entrance of the mine, you see Pelnell in the distance as he exits the entrance of some hole in the wall.
So Pelnell, did you heal somebody successfully? No?
Yep, so you're muted.
Sorry, I was pissing.
How dare you pee on my watch?
Yes. What's happening? What's up?
You guys just got reunited, and he asked you if you healed somebody.
Did you heal anyone in there?
Well, I'm not sure. He was super weak and, like, I felt like I could put my finger right through and his bones were super brittle. It seemed like some disease. I tried to cast something, but I don't know, it didn't, like, immediately take effect.
You didn't feel anything when you cast such ability?
It just went into him. It usually kicks in real fast, but I'm not sure. Might not be a disease.
What did you give him?
Just cast something to try to remove a disease from him.
Oh, like a paladin who has like their holy symbol, which their god given the ability to remove diseases, something like that.
Yeah, kinda. I know some of those paladins are like immune to it, but yeah, I tried.
Never used that. I have an ability to remove something else, but I don't know if it would work. Do you think it's a curse? I don't think it would be, would it? This many people?
Nah, I don't think it's a curse. I think it has something to do with the rock, magical or natural.
Well, you grabbed a piece, we can investigate later. Did you pass signal by chance?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You guys are basically meeting in the centralized area of the mine entrance and are standing in general proximity of the mine boss's quarters.
If you guys want to head up, I can stop and talk to Sigil real quick. And just kind of give him a rundown of what we've done, what's clear, what's not clear, where to stay away from. I mean, I don't think it'll take all of us to inform him, but I'll leave that up to whatever you guys wish to do.
Alright. Yeah, I can support that.
Alfred up like a baby again. Come on, buddy.
Wah, wah.
Have a good chat.
Where's my bottle, my blankie, my pacifier?
He's all yours.
You hear one of the dwarves nearby who's walking. Look at Alfred as he's saying that and kind of chuckle to himself.
I'll head
Daddy,
to the boss's quarters.
Daddy Pell, can I get a bedtime story?
Yeah, I'll tell you one.
I would love some like art, Matt, if your girlfriend could draw one of like Paladel holding Alfred and talking to him and telling him the story.
Yes.
Please, I want to see that. Please.
I'd pay money for that. I'd commission that for $20. Real talk. Show me your Facebook beats.
But
Once I start my job, I will pay you that $20.
So Munson, as you approach the mine boss's quarters, again the entrance is not barred. It's just an open door frame. You walk in and you see Sigil at work there, on the desk inside. He looks up to see you. Hey, good to see you back alive.
Yes, indeed. I will switch to, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna switch to Dwarven.
Hmm.
Wait, hold on. Nope, I lied. It's Gnomish right now, not Dwarven. Lied to myself again, damn it. And I would just, I mean, I could give the whole spiel again, but, basically what I would tell Sigil is that I'll explain to him about the Shadow Realm, what happened down there, how we cleared it. Should be good to go back in there. Don't go so deep. I'd start pulling people from your weaker experimental mining facility, as it seems to be, according to what I understood from Pelinel, it sounds like it's a disease or something that's taken over their body, which is starting to take their bone marrow, starting to crush them into almost into a vegetable, basically, not able to do anything over time. We did take a piece out, however, of the silvery, shiny ore, and we will see if we can do anything to see what this ore does. Try to help you out as best we can before we leave town. And then, I would recommend getting people out of that section, out of the experimental, and head back to the original 243.
I see. Well, I appreciate what you've done for us and the effort you put forth. We don't typically allow outsiders to just take things from the mine, but in this case, I'll allow you to take this one sample. How big of a sample did you require?
He grabbed a pebble size, nothing massive.
Okay.
It's just a palm size. Just nothing. I don't think you guys would miss.
Yeah, it was nothing of large. So.
I suppose that's all right.
We just want to see what it's causing. That's all.
Did you happen to take anything from section 243 on your way out?
We did see a couple interesting pieces.
But did you take anything?
I did not take anything.
I took some minor, small chunks of
Well, you're not there.
ore.
I'm the only one.
Oh, I thought we were all there. My bad. Sorry.
It's just Munson.
Yeah,
Munson,
so the way I clarify it saying is I did not take anything.
Make a deception check.
Oh,
Not that you are telling it a falsity, but the way you're saying it could be inferred. Dirty 20. Okay. He looks at you for a second and strokes his beard, looks at his papers. All right. Well, I'll confer with Urgurg and Kogig, and we'll determine our next course. In the meantime, please wait a moment. He goes over to his desk and takes out a fresh piece of parchment from one of the drawers on the side, lays it on top, gets a quill, pushes the piece of charcoal that he was using out of the way. Grabs his quill, dips it in some ink off to the side after he uncorks the ink, begins to write on the paper. It takes him a second. He finishes a short paragraph. He looks at you and tries to look past you at anything that would be outside. And I'm going to roll in the die here real quick. Okay. He looks past you and starts writing paper some more. Puts the quill down. Takes a small spoon that's been suspended off to the side from over a candle and brings it over and pours something on the paper, puts the spoon back, and then takes something else and presses it into the wax and puts that down, folds the paper and gives it to you. Take this to any forge that you would be attending, and it should benefit you.
Okay. I will take it to a forge.
For your efforts helping the mine of Cliffcraig.
Of course. Glad we can help.
And he goes and sits back at his desk.
Okay. And I will just turn around and head out. I'm not even going to do anything else.
Right.
And then as I leave, in my mind with Alfred, I think you said Alfred, right? Alfred. Or did you say Pellenelvork? Who did you give?
It was everybody but Alfred.
Son of a bitch.
Wait, what?
So Vork, I will tell you in your head, like, whatever you do, the master boss asked me to see if I've taken any of his ore from the new shaft. When you guys are alone, inform each other to shut the hell up. We've taken nothing. That's all I have to say. No, just keep going.
All right.
Okay, so you guys are all back together. What is your current path?
When he told me that, who all was I around?
You guys are in the middle of a wide open space, a massive cavern that is the main entrance to the mines. The closest ceiling to you is probably 200 feet in the air, and it's at least a couple hundred feet to every wall around you. On this main mine floor, there are a couple dwarves, but each dwarf is like 75 feet away from you at least.
I want to kind of lean over to the group and be like, "Don't mention anything about ore."
Ugbor speaks up and goes, genuinely.
What a word.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
I just quickly shove the
Crystal clear on the point.
okay.
Say again, Flint. I don't think we heard you.
I was just gonna say that I put the nasty ore in the magic bag.
Okay, so Alfred gets with Pellinel and as covertly as possible pockets the ore into Pell's bag of holding. Flint, what did you say again?
I can't remember.
Okay. Okay, so are you guys exiting the mine at this time?
No, we I don't think we have any reason to stay in here anymore.
Okay. You guys exit the mine, going up the low road up to the entrance of the Velour Keep, and you once again stand above the entire city of Cliffcraig, looking down on its denizens. They are. It seems to be it's just as active as it was before. At this time, it is getting towards evening.
Instead of meeting up with the group, I will head to a forge before I head up with the group.
I ask you, if possible, can you find some pieces of glass, like 4 or 5 panes, maybe?
Who are you asking?
Whoever's gonna go up to the forge.
Oh, I'm not with you guys. I'm just before I meet up
Oh,
with you guys. I'm headed out to the forge.
God damn! I have like 5 different conversations going on, so I can't even keep track of this one.
No worries.
Yeah, you good. Okay, so Munson, as you just kind of depart from your group without words, you descend into the city. In the city, there are any number of forges in the area. You see fires stoked all over the place, especially in the dimming light of evening. They become more prevalent. You do recall that there are a couple main forges that have noteworthy names in the area.
Yeah, I'll head to one of them.
Okay, my document closed on me. Okay, did you plan to go to the, oh shoot, where did that go here? Let me get the right page. The Craig notes, where are you? Are you planning to go to the Oak Rock, the Dust Toe, or the Jade Bane Forge?
Jade Bane.
Okay. You approach one of the citizens and ask them generally where forges are, get some names, decide on one, and ask them where the Jade Bane Forge is currently housed. And you point in a direction, and it doesn't take long to guide you through the city, and you eventually come upon a large, sort of flat building that has a large basin in the back, clearly visible from the streets. And in this large domed area, there is just a sea, a small lake of embers, and there are many people working the forge around the forge area, sharpening steel, hammering steel, quenching blades, and things that have just come out of the fire. There is a small building attached to it that is about the same size as the forge you saw in Cliffcraig that you're familiar with. I'm sorry, in Sunder that you're familiar with, the Sword and Scale. And there's a plain entrance to the store, but there's also a small wall, about a half wall, that goes around the rest of the perimeter of the property with different breaks in it that you can enter at any point.
I'll go in the proper entranceway.
Okay. Entering the store front, you see a store that is made of almost all brick, even the floors, and there are several wall hangings on both sides of the wall. At the back end, behind the counter, there's only one center pedestal of sorts that comes up to about waist height on you and runs the length of the store back before it drops off. And there are just weapons and armor and armaments and ingredients and chains and everything you can basically imagine made of various forms of metal and leather. At the back, there are 2 dwarves manning the front of the store, and in the store with you is a number of dwarves and halflings.
I will approach the counter area, and I will slide the note on the counter, look at them, and say, Sigil asked me to bring this in for a reward, I believe, and then I will slide it to him.
Dwarf gives you a curious look and takes the paper and opens it up, looking at it for a second, looking back to you, looking you over, back to the note, folds it back and gives it back to you. All right, we'll charge you the proper price then. Do you have any idea what you'd be having?
What does this give me? I did not read it. I was told I just came to you. Can you please describe what he has written?
Oh, right. Yeah, it says there that you and at least 2 others. It describes a tall bluish figure, a tallish purple figure, and a dragon of some sort. You've assisted the mines in a service that would allow you to get the the miner's price on everything here. On
So
any major forge craft in the city, you are getting essentially a discount for your service.
What is my percentile off?
From whatever it currently was, you would get a 25% discount.
Okay. So this is a one-time charge, or is this while we are in town?
This is a continuous charge. As long as you have this missive, you are regarded as if you are under the employ of the mine.
Okay. That is what I came in to ask. I appreciate your kind gesture. We will be back to this forge here to potentially get upgrades for those in my party in which could use potentially better stuff.
Excellent.
I appreciate you reading it for me and making me understand exactly what it was, but yes, I will be back.
No worries. Now, my name is Yesrir. Yesrir Jadebane. I'm one of the many Jadebanes here of our clan. Just remember that you're in the Jadebane Forge, one of the, matter of fact, the finest forge in Cliffcrag. As you would notice, and he gestures towards the weapons and things on the wall, we have our own signature fires that cast our specific items of craft in a greenish hue that is basically our signature. You can rest assured that any weapon that retains a greenish hue to its fired edge is one of our forge and is of the highest quality.
Well, that's why I come to you. Like I said, we are going to rest tonight, and by morning or afternoon, we shall be back to see what we can make look the finest.
Absolutely. And just make sure you come back here. If you go to Oak Rock Dust Toe or any others, you're getting a lesser product, but I look forward to seeing you.
I only go for the finest. Thank you.
And he nods.
And I will leave and head out.
Sure.
To the group.
While Munson is walking about town, what are you guys doing?
I'm probably asleep in Pell's arm.
Guys, I think we should go find the inn for the night. It's getting pretty late anyway. This little boy's had a tough day.
Okay, sure, suppose.
Well, how after dying, my image of being this tough dragonborn is now reduced to a child.
It's okay. We'll get you to Betty Boss.
As you are walking along and looking just casually for both the inn you are staying at and the friend who is off on a mission for you guys in the city, Ugbor, in the middle of the day in the streets here, as you're walking along, you hear something.
What does Ugbor hear?
Giant killer. This is, you look around and you don't see anybody saying anything. There's nobody nearby addressing you.
Ugbor thinks to himself.
Hello?
Slayer of giants. I like it.
Holy shit.
Kill more. Say my name. And that's all you hear.
Who?
Ugbor starts looking around. He looks up in the sky. Does he see anything anywhere?
No, you don't see anything.
Whoa. Okay. Whatever that means. Duly noted. Let's see. Do we have any kind of group chat communication thing on?
Yeah, you still have it going on for about another 15 minutes.
Hey, just checking in with the group. Everybody, okay, I guess? Everything normal? Anybody hear anything suspicious?
How many people is in the group chat?
Everyone but Alfred.
Correct.
Yeah, and I'm past that anyway, so I wouldn't even heard it.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm fine. What noise are you talking about? Their voices?
Yeah. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm probably just imagining things.
What was the words exactly?
Yeah, what'd it say?
Oh, just some vague stuff about committing heinous acts of murder immediately.
Okay. What exactly did he say? Do you remember?
Kill more?
Kill more
Kill
who?
more what?
Just said more.
Huh. Kill more. Oh,
He called me a giant slayer. At least I think it was a he. Now that I think about it, it was just a voice in my head.
Yeah, but if you've had this before, I'm sure you would have told us.
Oh yeah, I have voices in my head right now, you guys.
Yeah, so that's a Vork gift, which we love. Giant slayer.
As you guys are discussing this, you eventually find each other in the city and are one party of 6 again.
Now, question: were you called Giant Slayer before Alfred gave you Giant Slayer name?
No, never.
So.
At this point, I think it's probably a good time to add the reminder that while most of the party seems pretty seasoned, Ugbor is a young orc. He's about like 19.
Yeah,
in common years.
That's why I'm kind of scratching your scalp to try to get as much detail as I can. Hoping that you might be able to pick something up, because I obviously didn't hear what you heard.
You guys.
Hang on a minute. I'm considering something. Dungeon Master, I have 12 intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to decide whether or not Ugbor would legitimately cognitively understand a difference between message and the spell that Vork's using for party chat.
With your experience and expertise, I will have you roll just a plain intelligence roll with disadvantage.
Okay.
Or Arcana, your choice.
Let me look at Arcana. Ooh, okay.
Big numbers, big numbers. I tried.
Lame.
No, you're not really sure. It sounds very similar, but you're not sure how the magics work, or maybe how distance would affect such a spell. You don't know.
Okay. Given that, then Ugbor just kind of, he seems to be thinking really hard.
What voice you've heard before?
No. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Never. Dungeon Master, when Ugbor heard the voice, did he feel anything, or was it literally just a disembodied voice in his head?
Please call me Daddy.
What? Hold up here. Hold on. Let's go back to that. What?
I suspect Dustin might like being called Dungeon Master.
The big D.
It felt like it came from everywhere, not just in your head, but it felt like it came from everywhere around you. It's very slightly different than the mental messages you're communicating with in the previous moments.
Okay. Are we still out here in town? What did I miss?
I think I will have to ponder these events.
Or how'd it make you feel hearing that voice? Did it, like, scare you or anything?
I don't know exactly how it made me feel. Although, if I'm being really honest, I did kind of like what he was saying.
So you want to kill more of something, but you don't know what you're killing.
It doesn't really matter.
As long as you can kill?
As long as they can fight back.
Well, you seem to like your title that you have now. So maybe he wants you to kill some giants.
You guys are all silent. I'm assuming you guys are talking in your guys' head. What did I miss? What's going on here?
I may or may not be going crazy, but
He's just hearing voices.
everybody's humoring me, so talking
Not
about
our voices.
Dustin, would I be able to figure out if there's any kind of stone giants or anything that may roam near this dwarvish area?
If you're trying to discern what now? Sorry.
If there's any kind of like stone giant, anything that would kind of something I would believe that may come out of places like this, out of caverns or
Local
rock
rumors.
style, local rumors, anything.
Postings on the wall.
Okay, I'll let you roll history for that.
15 plus 5, so dirty 20.
You don't know of any giants or any history coming from this area, although you do look over in the distance and see the two massive dwarves that are hewn into the mountain itself, guarding the entrance to the mines, and can only come up with your own ideas of legends that might have happened in eons past, but nothing in current history that strikes you.
Okay, cool.
Well, I know we had one hell of a crazy day with me dying and being revived, so I'm sure everyone's a little tired after what we went through, so it wouldn't surprise me if we're over here is starting to crazy.
We're all pretty good, Alfred, just you.
Oh, okay, okay. Well,
it'd be like an arm nudge as I walk by.
In that case, yeah, Ugborg hearing voices might not be such a good thing. I mean, what did he say? What did I miss?
Oh, well, you know, while you were out, I think I heard a voice that is requesting that I commit murder.
Oh, is that so?
You want to know?
Oh, well, you caught me off that list. I've already been murdered.
You want to know something? The more I think about it, the more I think I agree.
As you guys are walking through town,
a black M becomes etched on his forehead.
I'm sorry. And the more you like to murder?
No, the M has little curly cues on the end of the sticks.
Yeah, has to.
As you guys are walking through town, who is taking point just as you're walking casually?
If we're still walking through towards the tavern, I actually think Pell is probably in the lead. He's so dang tall.
Big boy.
Okay. As you're walking,
I'm probably like over his shoulder, just looking at Ugborg, trying to tell him to get more information on this damn voice in his head.
As you're walking, Pell, and I'll say Vork, because I'm assuming Vork will be behind or beside Pell. You guys are almost hit by a side table that just gets winged out of an open door of a house that you're passing, and as it crashes against the sidewalk and the building across the way and just shatters in pieces, you hear a nope.
Oh.
What the hell? My ass.
I kind of want to go pop my head in there and see what the fuck's happening.
Well, just leave me outside the door. I'll be fine.
As you walk by, you kind of poke your head in a little bit inside the door, and you see a dwarf whose hair is like half blown to one side and like sticking up in different parts, and just like a tattered, dreadlocked mess. And he has a dagger in his hand, and he's stabbing horizontally at furniture. You know, he stabs a side table and turns around very frantically and looks at and stabs the coffee table. He He looks very suddenly down a hallway, runs over there, and then stabs a chair with the dagger that's just sitting in the hallway. And then he steps it for a second, pokes the chair again with the dagger, then grabs it and then starts to wing it across the room. Nope.
I'm gonna kind of like knock on the doorway, like the door facing.
Mm-hmm. He turns around very suddenly as you're knocking, and faces you and points the dagger at you. Yes. What?
Be like, are you all right? Did you lose something?
Just my sanity. And he turns around and then pokes the wall of the building.
Why are you stabbing everything?
He turns back to you after he wrenches the dagger out of the wall. I was bitten by a plate. It had eyes and teeth, and it bit me, and I stabbed it, and it broke into this goopy mess. I'm not sure what it was, but everything in this room is suspect now.
Do I know what he's talking about?
I'd say you probably would. In your travels, you have fought creatures that have disguised themselves as other objects.
Remember Laszlo about got fucking ate.
Yeah, in a specific cave that you went through in the wilds.
Yeah. Is that the only thing you found so far? Was that one plate?
I have suspicions, and I take my suspicions and put them against the floor, and I smash them, and I'm wrong most of the time, but I'm right some of the time.
Maybe we can help this out. Where did you get that plate?
I don't recall. As a matter of fact, I think it just appeared in one of my cupboards. You see him thinking. His eyes go wide, and he turns and runs into down the hallway, and then takes a left and goes to another room. Aha! And he grabs. And then you hear a smashing of glass in the room.
I guess I'm gonna kind of let myself in. Like, how wrecked is this place?
It has been turned over. There are gashes in every bit of upholstery. Looking around at the furniture, almost every piece of furniture has a gouge mark where it's been hit with something or stabbed with his dagger. There are several pieces of furniture that have been smashed. There are some glass facings of portraits on the wall that have been smashed, and some of the eyes of the people in the portraits that have been cut out.
Oh.
Crazy.
That's the only one pile of like goo.
No, you don't see it in here.
I'm gonna kind of follow him down the hallway, I guess.
Okay, as you get to the edge of the threshold where he went in, I'm gonna have you make a dexterity save.
Just straight dex.
Just straight dex. But it's a saving throw, so if you have any kind of modifiers on that, you can have that. That'll do. You walk by just in time to see a big pitcher, like a water pitcher, flying at your head, and you just like drop down, and it crashes on the wall behind you and smashes. I've determined at least 3 of these had prior intentions. And you look around and you see that there's shatterings of ceramic and glass all over the floor.
Oh. So, the 3 he's talking about, I assume he's just going crazy then. But I see 3 mimic bodies here.
No, you see 1 blackened spot on the table, like on the kitchen table, but nothing on the floor. And the blackened spot on the table looks like it's just residue staining from something left behind, but you don't see anything on the floor that's new.
Is that the last of it?
Not quite. I still have one more cupboard. And he goes over to the only cupboard that's not been opened up. And he grabs it and throws it open. And then as soon as he throws it open, he, with the other hand, slices down on the cabinet, breaking the bottom shelf out of it. And everything in the cabinet just shatters across the counter below it and then falls on the ground. I knew my kitchenware was against me from the very moment my mother gave me that kitchen set. I've always hated those flowers.
Well,
This dude's a Looney Tune, guys.
you seem to have this under control, I assume.
Oh, I have it. I have it all right. And he wags a finger at you.
Okay.
Don't you worry about Obradorm. I will take care of everything I see. I will not be bitten again.
And do you have? Can I see where you were bit?
Sure, I suppose. You're not one of them, are you?
No, I don't think they can look like me. People.
He still is holding the dagger at you, like he's holding it back, reverse gripped, and he points the dagger at you, but then lifts up his sleeve so you see several teeth marks on the side of his forearm.
Yeah. I want to kind of, as a reflex for his dagger, I want to go ahead and summon one of my own just to have ready to kind of counter if he tries to do anything.
Oh, that's fancy. Can you teach me that trick? Is that handy against these creatures? This thing that's in my brain?
Hey, man. Hey, have you ate anything weird? Drank anything weird?
I have had at least 3 bottles of brandy in the last 6 hours, I think.
Oh, okay. That's just 3 bottles? That's not a lot.
No, not for a dwarf, no. Nothing besides that.
Ate anything?
I don't think I've eaten since I was bitten 3 days ago.
Have you been doing this for 3 days?
Give or take. Occasionally I'll fall asleep by accident. I don't intend to. Most of the time I sleep out in the garden where there's no kitchenware.
Have you went?
He taps his temple. That's the thing. You get away, then they can get you.
Have you talked to anyone about this at all?
Talk to someone who? No, not me. No, I don't talk to people. No, if I talk to people, then they could see the things and take their side. Maybe they are the things. What are these things? I don't know what these things are.
Okay. Yeah, they're. I've heard them referred to as many things, but I think the common name is a mimic, because you obviously know why.
Mimic.
They love to mimic things.
Mimicry. Interesting. I have a name. If I have a name, then I have a thing. And if I have a thing, then I have a problem.
Perhaps you should go to see like the apothecary. Go do some research.
Research. But to research, I would have to pick up an object like a book, and a book could be a thing, and a thing is a problem.
Well, go research elsewhere. Not with items in your home.
Nope. And he puts his dagger away and goes over to one cabinet, then flicks a small bottle with his finger, and it gives a ping sound, and he takes that and nods, picks up the bottle, pops the cork on it, and then just starts pouring the liquid all over the floor. Nope.
Okay, well, you seem to have this under control, so you have a good day.
Don't worry about being a gnome, I have it covered. And you, as you leave, you hear
I'm gonna walk out the door and look at these guys and just do like the little, the twirl beside my head and be like, "This dude's fucking crazy."
This place, well, there's no sunlight. Maybe they're losing themselves.
I don't know. I mean, him being drunk too is probably not too well, but I mean, he wasn't really drunk for a dwarf.
Well, you're out in the city now, Munson. There is a day-night cycle in the city.
Oh, he's just crazy.
Well, then let's
Have
get
any
started
of
here
you
before-
noticed? Have any of you noticed?
Maybe he's had too much sun.
Oh, he's had too much of something.
I honestly haven't been paying attention to anybody. That's not really what I do.
Have any of you noticed any objects moving on their own?
Nope, just the ones I move myself.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I kinda wish I knew telekinesis so I can fuck with this guy, but oh well.
Pale, did you say yeah?
No.
Oh, okay.
Pale, with your passive perception, you're able to notice, as you guys are talking out in the streets, still outside this guy's threshold and property, there's a light flickering down the hallway.
What the hell is he doing in there?
We probably need to go the other, yeah, we need to keep going.
Yeah, I'm not too keen to get hit by, piece of furniture.
Oh, nope, you ain't gonna worry about that. He has it under control, and I'm gonna quote hands around under control. He's fine, we can keep going.
Oh, good. Alright, Daddy Pal, pick me up.
Alright.
After every few steps, I just want to keep clocking, just keep checking back at this house.
As you leave visual range of the innards of his domain, Pell, you see that the light has taken an orange hue and grown just a little brighter. And as you guys walk away, you are quickly out of range of seeing his abode.
That was weird.
Yeah, he was weird.
Well, anyway, Ugborg, about this voice. What did he say?
Oh, the voice.
Yeah,
Sorry, I need to find a better key to map.
Oh, you mean the voice from earlier?
Yes, that voice. The voice is telling you to murder.
Yeah, that's all it said.
It didn't say murder though. It didn't say it said murder.
It said specifically kill more, and called me a giant slayer.
It doesn't say murder. It says kill more.
So kill more giants?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. It specifically said Giant Slayer?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really knows outside the party of Giant Slayer.
Alfred, do you remember after we finished our battle how loud you were about what he was, the new name you gave him? The names you gave him during the arena?
Yeah, but that's during the arena. Not a lot of people would have made it asunder after that. And even if there were survivors, they wouldn't have made it up here this far. They wouldn't even know that we even survived ourselves.
Well, you never know.
Usbor, do you follow a god or anything by chance?
I do.
Dustin, would I maybe my history of various fighters and whatnot from various backgrounds, might have heard stories about people claiming that, they've been chosen by their gods or goddesses?
Very easily, you had heard very little else in that regard, except for Wallen's distrust of his previous deity, Grimsh, and his despise of said deity because he felt abandoned.
Well, back in the day of the arena, I've heard many claims or stories of people being chosen by their god, or goddesses.
Yeah, but Wallen said
maybe-
that there is no such thing as Grumsh. He was an unbeliever.
Maybe a redemption or something. I don't know. But if that's the case, would you happen to know if Groomish might have an enemy with the giants?
Hey, can you not tell Groomsh that I'm like kind of myself?
Groomsh doesn't have a specific hatred towards giants. Doesn't like them, but he also loves violence and encourages it wherever possible.
If you said giant slayer, it must be meaning more giants. That's what I would think, and he may have chosen you due to your combat prowess during the arena to do such thing. I don't know. At least that's my thought on it. Like I said, I've heard many claims and stories of various worshippers of various religions that would fight in their gods or goddesses' name. Whether that's true or not, I do not know. I sure don't remember hearing any voices telling me to kill more anyway.
Well, it does seem like some would say. I don't really think that it needs too much more of our consideration. May even upset. Just expect that if I get the chance to kill something that's really big, I'm probably gonna go for it.
I will help you with that. Definitely keep an earful or mindful of any other voices that may prove beneficial or even warning.
It's about this time that you guys wander upon the block that contains the Great Tower of the Pass-Through, the hotel with the bridges spanning two buildings above that you rented rooms in.
Oh, my arms are kind of full, guys. Can somebody open the door for me?
Boris steps in front and swings open the door.
Oh, such a gentleman.
After you.
Finally home, at least for now.
You guys walk in and see somebody different at the counter than you saw before, and they are seem to be in something of a discussion with the small goblin at the standing in front of the counter. No, I was told that they reserved the room. They should have reserved a room and had a number. I forget the number. My name is Gurkland. Do you know of any of these? You see him getting frustrated, and the clerk's like, "I'm sorry, I don't. I have to have all the information in order to give you the key. Do you have anything else you could tell me about what room number it was?" No, I don't.
Know.
What?
What are you doing troubling this poor man?
Tell them the room number. What room number did I get?
67, wasn't it?
67.
Yes, 67. There we go. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the trouble. I just got to make sure of these things. Yes, give me the key. Okay.
Come on, Gurky. The guy has us for enough trouble.
Fine.
Besides, we've all had our fair share of troubles today, it seems.
I've not had enough wine for this day.
You and me both, brother.
And he takes his key and proceeds to walk briskly over towards what you assume to be a stairwell. Come on, let's go. A brief conversation before I head on to bed.
Kind of whisper to Pels, like, I'm surprised you didn't question why I'm in your arms.
You don't judge. Just walk up the stairs.
Don't worry, we'll just look like we're a new couple now.
He really doesn't. One of the good things about Gurk.
Yep, I don't ask too many questions, and you guys talk very loudly.
Well, one of us does.
I just want to fucking relax and go to fucking bed. I wish I can get some beer, but sleep first.
And you guys walk up 1, 2, 3, 4 flights of stairs, 5, and then 6. And you see the giant 6 that is in the same font and sign design as the different sections of the mines you just saw underground. And you get off on the 6th floor. Gurky immediately throws open the door and walks from the stairwell into the hallway that goes back and forth, containing various room numbers. That's what room are you in?
We've pretty much taken everything from 63 to 61 to 67, I believe.
Yes, as I recall.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Pick one. Let's go. Where are we going?
Well, we'll go to your room.
Yeah, 67.
No, I'm going to my room. I want to go to your room first, just for
We'll just go to
meeting.
my room. That way I don't have to travel very much.
Okay.
He gets 63.
Sure.
Fine. And he goes through 63, has you guys open it, and you all proceed inside. It's a fine-looking room. It's wood-clad, most everything, with not dwarven-style beds. They are rather large beds, but they are made of wood-framed, with a footboard and a headboard. They are draped in blue and white bedspreads, and the room looks very comfortable. There are a couple windows that look out upon the bridges that connect yours to other rooms across the way, and there's a small porch area that is one of the landings outside. There's a couple of nightstands and other comfortable things in the room, but otherwise it's just a very comfortable breathing space, and you're able to see not only across to the other buildings, but if you arch in the right direction, you're able to see down to the streets below, and it's a very fresh-looking space. Okay.
You can just leave me in bed. I'll watch from there.
Okay. Well, I have basically concluded my business in this city fairly, not on the terms I had wished, but it is what it is currently. Me not having certain suppliers and certain purviews in opportune places like Sunder are definitely a hindrance. Anyway, here's what I have basically decided. It seems that you have other things you need to take care of if this greater disaster is something that you wish to pursue, and I would be happily obliged to let you take care of whatever you see fit, but however, you are still under contract with me. So what I'm going to do is I am going to leave. And mind you, part of your contract says that you are not able to discuss where I am headed or where I'll be staying to anyone else. I will be going of my own accord tonight out of here to basically and I wouldn't call it a safe house, more of an isolation house, a retreat, if you will, to a private place I have created in the south portion of Isenwell. I'll be going not to the Isenwell city, but to the the south part of the island, being out of the way of anything that might cause me harm. Now, the objects, the tasks that I would beg of you to do if it should cross your path, and I would help you with information and other things that might assist in those regards. And if you succeed in these tasks with my assistance, then we will hold to our contract, and you'll receive your portion of the benefit of said task. But otherwise, I will leave you to your own devices and not be in your way of anything greater standing. Now, with your understanding that I will be out of the picture but contactable, and he taps the the necklace around his neck with the all of the emeralds in it. With that said, I have some parting gifts for you as I explain what I am after. And he digs in the inner pocket of his vest once more as he speaks. I have 3 main tasks I wish to take part in or benefit thereof. I wish to, of course, deal with Mr. Foster, who owes me, and Mr. Flinton here, an object that was ordered and he has failed to deliver. He is in a personal, we call it a laboratory, I suppose, just north of Red Ash. With that, I have the location of somewhere in the wilds, the scattered wilds, that I wish to venture towards personally, but I will join you once you are there. And he, at this time, takes out a bag and holds it out to your group. It's a green felt style bag, and it's very well embroidered. Like the stitching on it is black but very thick and easily seen, and there is a very fine G embroidered in it in common in the front of the bag in a gold stitching. This is one of 2 bags that go to a pocket space that is accessible from 2 sides. This bag and another are both going to the same pocket space, that is. So anything put in this bag is accessible from the other, and vice versa. It is also good to acknowledge that this bag expands, and he opens it slightly to about 2 feet wide at the top, and as he lets go, it snaps back into its closed space. It's basically an elastic of sorts. This space is big enough that I will be able to traverse through. However, if we would use this feature only to get someone of my size, or I suppose Mr. Flinton's size as well, through the bag to the other side of the bag. I mention this because this allows you to pass me my share of whatever you find to complete the tasks. It allows me to supply you with any information or goods necessary to help in the completion of these tasks. And when you reach the destination that I will describe to you in the wilds that I want to attend, I will be able to traverse myself through the bag, provided you are able to grab a rope I put in and pull me out through the other side to join you in that specific event. The place I want to go to in the Scattered Wilds is called the Memory Tree. It's a personal journey of mine, and just something I need to take care of. So there's Mr. Jacob Foster, there's the Memory Tree, and I have a very strong inkling as to the location of the cave formerly belonging to Durgma.
Can we hold hands through the bag?
I suppose it's possible, but I would feel very weird about it.
Oh, theoretically only.
Yes. Yes, those are the tasks I have for you to complete. To complete those tasks, here is the bag, and he's holding the bag out. Who's going to grab it?
I think Flint should have that.
Okay, and he tosses the bag to Flint. Now, Flint, you can add to your inventory a bag of holding, but with the understanding, where you can make a note of it, that it's Gurky's two-way bag of holding.
Okay.
Gurky, before you leave, I was wondering if you can inspect something. I know you have probably seen many things in your lifetime, and I was hoping you might be able to give us some idea to a particular item that has been troubling some of the miners. Pel, do you mind if you take out the rock? Be careful not to actually touch it. And then I cast a mage hand towards them to kind of hold the rock.
Pale will wrap his hand up in like cloth or something and try to grab that rock out.
Yeah, I mean, it's wrapped in cloth, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Are you asking me if I've seen such a thing, or what are you asking me?
So I was asking if you've seen something similar, or maybe the effects of it has on the people here. It seems like it's. It's like we've heard stories that people would put this glowing dust or the shimmering dust on their teeth, and it would fall out. Pell had, met a dwarf who was very brittle and could almost break him like a toothpick. And there's just others that just haven't seen, was losing vision. And these are people who probably came into contact with this. So I didn't know if this is something you may have heard or seen something similar in your travels.
There are a great number of magics and oddities in this universe that have yet to be obtained or understood. And I fear this is one of them. I have not seen anything like this in my travels. I would be wary of such unknowns. They could be a great boon or a great bane. It's hard to tell.
I personally think this might be some sort of kind of like a self-defense mechanism almost with these rocks to be harvested. So I'm very curious in investigating them. If you happen to know any contacts who might know more about this rock, would you be able to follow up on that and see if I have a feeling this might be useful in the future?
Where I am going, I don't think that there's much conversation to be had with anybody of such intelligence, but I will keep an eye out.
Alright, I know you have plenty of contact with how you've been, so sure it won't be too hard to find people.
Indeed.
How long do we plan on staying here, Gertie?
He reaches in his vest pocket and then pulls out a rather large tome.
Well, he'd be leaving in the morning.
That would be entirely up to you. I will be leaving momentarily. And it is up to you to decide what your path is, what is important to you, and how best to get there. But to complete tasks given by me, and he holds out the tome towards you, Munson, I have this additional gift should you need to evacuate to my location or any other location you might benefit from.
Okay, I'll grab it.
Okay, you can add to your inventory the Atlas of Endless Horizons. That book seems like it can be used by someone like you who knows how to read a book very well. It contains a number of instructions on how to very easily traverse from one place to another.
So, portal?
You should be able to look up the item, but in the book, when attuned to, you have access to the spells Arcane Gate, Dimension Door, Gate, Misty Step, Plane Shift, and Teleportation Circle, and Word of Recall.
Nice.
Yeah, you just go ahead and send those to me if you can, and then I'll put them in my notes.
Did you say you know where the location of Durgma's cave is? Do you want us to get anything specific from there?
Well, once you have successfully located it, we need to establish a plan when you guys get there. I have suspicion that, we may or may not be the only occupants of the cave, but it's hard to say. There might be bandits in there, maybe people have found it before, maybe it might be empty, maybe there is a monster living in the cave. I am unclear, but if it is vacant and accessible, then you should be able to gather any kind of leftovers that are in there, and we can make an agreement on what is salvageable, valuable, and take appropriate portions, is my current thought. Specifically, anything that is individual, realistic, any historical items or artifacts, anything powerful or important looking, that's what I'm after. Something important, something that would be of note that I can say that this was taken from a dragon. Just as a point of brag for myself.
And like, I'm pretty sure, like, I grew up being terrorized by Dogma. Would I have like a vague idea of where his cave would be at?
You believe it's somewhere within the sand plate, based on where Dergma came from during the Battle of Dergma, as it's been called, and based on the flight patterns you've seen before, and the battles taken in the air between the Phoenix and Dergma, and you believe the cave to be somewhere in the north, at least north of the sand plate.
Yeah, it should be pretty far up north.
I have some ideas, but if you have any insight as well, we could always use more data.
It's should be maybe around the sand plate.
Yes, that's what I was gathering as well. But I have other markers to indicate some more things, some dead bodies, some stories, some areas that people have not traversed before or ever came back from. But we'll get to that when we get to it. For now, you know my objectives. When I ask of you, I've given you some assistance with accomplishing these objectives. And that is enough for now. So now, and he stands up and gets something else out of his pockets, but this one comes from his side. This is the molded case that is attached to him on his hip, that is built into his belt. He undoes some stitching from the side and pulls out a small wooden bowl. I will be taking my leave now. It is very behooving that you have chosen such a tall place for me to leave from. And for this, I am appreciative. And he begins to walk towards the back wall that is basically a glass wall that has the seating area outside and then the bridge across. Would you care to walk me out? And he opens the door.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sure thing.
And he walks about a third of the way onto the bridge and looks down over the side. Be careful if I were you. You wouldn't want to fall. And after saying that, he takes something out of his breast pocket on his vest, and it's a small wooden rod, about 4 or 5 inches long. And he has that in one hand and the small bowl in the other. He places the bowl on the ground and with both hands pulls it open, and as he does, it's like scaling upwards into this giant container that resembles a giant teacup in an amusement park. So the bowl magically expands to this size, and then after that he wrenches himself up and kind of flops into the bowl and straightens himself up. And as he does, he grabs the small wooden stick with both hands and then expands it into the rod that Vorik, you are familiar with being hit with. Well, I'll be in touch if you need me. I appreciate the room, but I think all of my business is concluded here for now. We'll be in contact. Let me know what you decide and when you decide. When you've decided a path, I can assist you in that path, but for now I'm going to be out of harm's way.
Well, be careful.
Take care of yourselves. And he then raises the small stick, now a cane, a quarterstaff of sorts, and gives a swift crack on the side of the bowl. And the bowl immediately is flung through the air like shot from a slingshot across the entire city, and he vanishes into the night sky.
Haven't seen one of those in a while.
Looks like Gurky's blasting off again.
Do you think he'd let me call him Dad?
Not sure. Oh, when we go back to the room, I have something to show everyone as soon as we get back inside.
And I would like to talk to everyone to see what their plans would be. We obviously have a lot to discuss about their future ideas and plans.
Oh, are we defining the relationship?
Oh, well, you know, it's gonna be a goddamn love hexagon at this rate.
I'm very flattered, but I don't know about all that.
On a serious note, who wants to stay here for a while and figure out this damn rock problem the dwarves are having? Because I'm very interested in it.
Well, I simply say blow it up and walk away, but you know, I guess going down another day ain't gonna hurt us, but I am kind of curious about South Sunder and what happened.
Well, seems like the people who know about the situation are tight-lipped. I don't even think I've even heard a single whisper about it in the enormous population since we've been here.
Well, tonight before I go to bed, I will study this book you gave me and see if it's become useful for us down the road.
I would vote for, I would vote to go and slay whatever monster is holding Dirk's hoard. And you know there is one. There has to.
Where's the location? Do you know?
Can we get the other map, EM, if possible?
I'm always down to look for Dogma. I mean, I've always been fascinated about my own kind, so you know. And maybe, just maybe, we can figure out a little bit of my heritage, so to speak.
I know this is weird to say right after you say that, but I watched him die.
Who'd you watch die?
Dirkma in that fight.
I was getting ready to say you also watched Alpha die.
Yeah, I was going to say, which one are you referring to?
Already.
Two dragons.
Well, I mean, at least you didn't skin my scales off, you know, and use me as an armor.
I didn't do that. I just bought this.
Sure. Anyhow.
Anyways, let's get back to the room. I have something to tell you before we make any final decisions, and then once I tell you what I know, then we can go from there.
Okay.
So as we enter back into the room, I bring out the piece of paper from Sigil, and I show everyone here. Now, he asked me if I'd taken any ore from his mines, which I told him I did not, which is a true statement. However, he thought I may have been hiding some information about you guys potentially taking some kind of ore. I don't think he caught me. I think I was sly enough, not quite sure. Anyways, he gave me this piece of paper that says basically we are labeled as miner workers with the capability of going to any forge we choose, and anything you purchase, you will get the miner's discount from now until forever. 25% off all purchases. And the best place I've been told, I've seen, I've walked around, that's why I wasn't here right away, it would be the Jade Bane. They create the highest crafting metals, materials, weaponry, and we would be offered a 25% discount on all purchases while we're here. As long as we show this note, we will be granted such rewards.
That's actually quite useful. Especially with
However,
me.
however,
Yeah.
the stones in which you may have gathered must not be spoken and or sold to in this area, as far as he believes, we did not take any product out of any of his mines, except for that one small piece, which, by the way, when you guys left with it, we had to have gotten his permission to take the silvery ore out. Thankfully, because it was a small enough piece, he approved that we have that one ore. So, that being said, the table is yours.
You will note that the letter that you received, in detail looking at it, it says that basically the bearer of this letter would receive the miner's discount at any forging craft location, as the same as any employee of the mines, provided the bearer of this letter matches the following any of the following descriptions, and lays out the descriptions of Munson, Palinel, and Alfred, because those are the people that he was able to see.
Okay. Well, that's good to know in the future if we ever come back here. Flint, you seem to know how to manipulate things to work. Do you think you might be able to construct some sort of viewing chamber to put the rock in that we may look but not touch? That might be airtight or something.
You mean a jar?
You know, I drew this thing in my mind, and now that you said that, yes.
You know when you think
Yes,
you've
a jar.
You know when you think you come up with something that's already been invented?
That's a risky thought, to invent your own invention.
Timeshare chefs. I just invented the restaurant.
Well, does anyone ever have a jar then? I take that as a no.
No.
I don't know. Flint, do you ever go?
You know, I was saving my last jar, and then some guy came up and asked me, and I said sure, but I knew I was going to need it. So no, I'm afraid I don't have a jar.
Well, we're in a city. I'm sure we'll find a jar somewhere. In the meantime, we'll just keep it in Pell's bag until we get a jar. In the meantime, I'm gonna go to fucking bed. I'm tired. I want to get some of this strength back in me so I can walk and not be carried like a baby in Pell's arm as much as I like that, Daddy Pell.
It's pretty nice sometimes. You purr sometimes when you sleep.
I will attest that I do not purr when I sleep.
Sometimes, just a little bit. You do a big, and then you go.
Oh, you totally do.
I will burn this place down with you all in it. And with that, I just kind of, shuffle over and go to bed.
Okay, so Alfred is now laying in the only bed in this room.
Yeah, I'm headed to my own room.
Vorig, as darkness starts to settle in, you hear something in your head. Where are you right now? Are you anywhere nearby? You might be doing kid stuff or work stuff.
Might be dead.
Who's this?
Vorig.
Oh.
Anyway, so we'll come back.
Hey, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Oh, that's good as shit.
What's up? Well, I was dealing with fucking work shit again. What'd you say?
Before you guys dissipate to your individual rooms of this basically hotel, the darkness is settling in outside into late evening, and you hear a voice in your head. Where are you right now? Are you nearby at all?
Is it Brewster?
Yes, it is.
my nearby? God. We're in Cliff Craig or whatever it is. Right.
Cliff
Mhm.
Craig, yeah.
I want to message you back and be like, okay, this map is more zoomed in. That looks better than the one we have pinned. I'm going to message him back and be like, not really. We're currently in Cliff Craig.
Okay. So you guys eventually go to your individual rooms. What else are you doing this evening?
I'll say with that, I'm gonna like to add on to it. But I'm hoping to come there soon. We'll leave it there.
All right.
I'll go to my room. I will lock the door. When I took a short rest, I gained a 4th level spell slot back. I will load up my dog for the door. Lock it, of course, and then I will study this atlas I was given and attune it before I go to bed.
Okay, good to know.
Pale will try to find Flint. Be like, hey buddy, you seem like a smart guy. He'll pull out like the diamonds from his bag of holding. Now, these are worth a lot. Like a lot. And the one I used on Alfred earlier kind of was like way too much for just that little spell that I did. Do you think you could like break them down a little bit to where they're still valuable, but like they're not as expensive?
You saying I'm not worth it? Oh God.
Well,
So
you're not within earshot now. This will be in the hallway at least.
I know. I'm just.
so in my head, Dustin,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like trying to ask him if he could, because these things are worth like, I think he said 2,000. I know in D&D Beyond they said they're like 5,000 a piece.
Yeah, they're 2,000.
Could he like break them down into like smaller diamonds that would like still be like worth stuff, like at least like 500 gold?
I mean, you don't know. One way to find out.
You know, there's probably some kind of crafter or skiller somewhere in the city that does that kind of work.
That's true. We are in a dwarf place.
So Flint, how do you respond to Pelnell's query?
Sorry, I was looking at something else. What?
Pell asked you if you could divide his diamonds into smaller chunks.
I believe so. I'd have to. Yes, I think I could do that. Yes.
Well, I trust you. I'll hand him one.
Okay, so Flint, you can add to your inventory a 2,000 gold piece diamond.
Just out of curiosity here, Paul, do you still have the pickaxe by chance? Or did you drop that in the mine after you got done with the geode?
Honestly, probably after he got the geode, he probably would have dropped it. Because he did like use his hand to grab it out.
At this point, where are people?
I'm
are
in
we all
bed,
still in
sleeping.
Alfred's room?
I think we went out in the hall.
Yeah, I believe
I went to room 61 and then I went to bed, put my dog at the door.
Yeah, so Munson's in his room, Alfred's in his room, and the rest of you are either in the hallway or venturing towards your own individual rooms.
I reckon I was talking to Flint in the hallway for a second too.
Right.
Well, the way you spend money, it seems like maybe you've had money before.
No.
Really?
Actually, a pretty humble lifestyle. I just don't really care for it all that much.
How could you not care?
I could usually get.
What better things are there in life than building up hordes and, you know, watching the life being sucked out of your enemy's eyes?
Well, you know, I like to have a good breakfast sometimes. That's a thing that what keeps me going. I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a violent guy like you, Bubby.
Well, you
Simple
enjoy
man.
spending your wealth.
Yeah. Maybe we can go and get you some fancy new studs tomorrow.
You know, I have a little bit of gold. Been meaning to restock up on some things. It'd be nice to have more than a pair of burlap trousers go with this breastplate.
Yeah, treat yourself. Now, so speaking about this, sorry to bring it back up again, but that voice you heard, you know, it could have maybe been Grumsh. Like, I know it might sound weird, but I've talked to Saloon before.
I just don't know why talking to me.
I don't know, maybe he saw something in you.
Wallen would have torn me in half, and seems he's not been chosen.
Yeah. He, from what it sounds like, he didn't really like him all that much.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. They work in mysterious ways.
You know, the more and more I think about it, the more I did feel really strong urge to obey. There's got to be something to that. I'm not sure.
Did it feel right when he told you
to? No. It kind of felt like my blood was boiling.
I don't know. He's probably a bit harsher than, you know, my goddess is. There's like some differences.
Room should be still talking. I'm good.
And then Ugbor just goes into room 64.
Alright. They'll go towards 66. Well, good night.
Good night, Bill.
Okay, unless there's anything else that needs to be said, you guys go into your rooms and find sleep in your own individual ways, thinking about what happened and what is your plan for the upcoming day and what you're going to do. You have several tasks in mind. There's some force out there that's wreaking havoc on at least the districts. Who knows what's happening in the Empire? There are council meetings about to happen with the districts and other powers involved. You have plans to pursue individual goals of your own natures. And with those thoughts in mind, as the night settles in and you all gain the benefit of a long rest, that's what we'll pick up next time.
Quickly, Pell, how many ability things negative did I get from your dead rest? Is it 4?
4 minus to your strength. 1 recovered just now, so you're at -3. Or rather, your total strength, whatever, is reduced now by 3.
Oh, it's more than that, though.
I would think, because I was down at -4, and since it was, a lot of that was mainly due to the 3 damages from the creature, I would think the long rest would have basically cured that part. And now it's just the 4 dead things, so I would be at 0 now.
Well, no, so you get -4 penalty to all attacks, saving throws, and ability checks every time you finish a long rest. That penalty is reduced by 1 until it disappears.
Yeah, but here's the thing, I was hit 3 times of my ability score before I died. So I was at -4 from my 13.
Oh, the strength thing?
Or, sorry, not negative. I was at, yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out, so does that go away as well? Now that I have a long rest? And then I increase, or I recover 1 from the 4 of the dead. So I'm at 0, my strength right now? Or, sorry, not 0, 10. I'm thinking the modifiers.
Sorry, I had to take care of something. I'm back now.
I'm trying to figure out where my strength is now, because I hit 3 modifiers worth of the strength from the creature, and then an additional 4.
Oh, right, yeah.
So now I'm trying to figure out, so am I at base 10 now, because I recovered 1, and all the extra damage?
Yeah, it was Matt. If you don't care to put the text up for the spell you use, so we can just look at that real quick. But yeah, so you have a total of -7 to your penalty on attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. I'm sorry, it's not strength. It's the attack roll, saving throws, and ability checks. Okay, so no, it's -4 to those, but you also have -3 to your strength. And that should be recovered on a long rest totally because that's from that creature. Let me double check that.
So if that's the case, then I'm at normal ability skills then. If the raised dead does not affect my ability skills, just my attack rolls and all that stuff.
Well, your ability checks, your saving throws, and your attack rolls. That affects all those.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For 3
It's
more
not
days.
like it's not like specifically like your strength or anything from that.
No, yeah, it's not based off of your core stats. It's just whenever you do a saving throw, any attacks, or any ability checks in the next day or so, you're
I'll just have to remember it's -3.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, correct. Your strength isn't normal because the strength drain from the shadow is reversed on your long rest, and also you're gaining 1 point back off of your raised dead deficits because of the long rest as well. So everything's normal except you have -3 now to your attacks, saving throws, and ability checks.
And after your next long rest, it'll be -2, and so on.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure I got all. So yeah, so now I'm back at technically full energy because of my strength. So yeah.
There you go.